G'day, I'm Luke Phillips. We're here at Into Coffee and Into Carry up the back. We're a zero waste cafe situated in Collingwood, and we have a design and upcycling studio just in the back of the room. So as you're sitting here having a coffee, you can browse away at the upcycling and sewing shenanigans that are going on up the back. I did industrial design, worked in the field for a couple of years, wasn't all that educated or involved in the sustainability space, and then was tinkering on some projects and started looking into the specific materials that I was using at the time, which was ironically or coincidentally neoprene, which is, one of the worst textiles that you could be using. And that just kind of started the rabbit hole. So, once you start pulling on the thread, it just gets worse and worse, and it's extremely depressing and extremely scary. And so, went through that challenging period where you're trying to reconcile your job fitting into this world, and it wasn't really making a whole lot of sense. With that new perspective, it was kind of like, everything needs to be redesigned. So it was sort of this switch from being in this, relatively glass half empty, depressive state of the world and the way that we're using materials. But all of a sudden, there's kind of all of this opportunity and excitement for innovation and kind of rethinking how we live in the world and how we're dealing with materials and how the materials that we're producing go back into the earth afterwards. So that was the sort of catalyst that started the thinking. But right now, probably one of the most valuable things we can do, granted this was 5 years ago, is get the material that already exists and use it to tell a story to all of the people that, haven't gone down that rabbit hole yet. And not everyone needs to, but it's just the education and the awareness, I think, is a really critical point right now. That's what we've kind of sunk our teeth into. So we exclusively deal with waste materials up back, with the exception of a couple of fixings and things that we can't source in a better way. And we're working on making those ourselves at the moment, from bottle caps and things like that. But the thing that gets us most excited is, the space and the community. So while we bolted on a cafe in the front of our design studio, is so that we can have these kinds of conversations with people, and people can start to see sustainable innovation and progress as something that's exciting rather than a sacrifice or a pain in the ass. So we're trying to flip the script and the language and people's perceptions around it as more of an opportunity, and maybe there's a little bit more abundance that could be there, rather than this thing that is usually slightly less quality, costs more money, and is harder to use.